Hello, and welcome to Wealth Builders Worldwide. Today's message is entitled Emotion and Math. On this CD, we are featuring Mr. Alan Austin Jr. He has over 20 years of experience leading large national and global operational teams for several multinational organizations. He is currently the Global Operations Process Management Executive for a multi-million-dollar financial services organization. He holds a Master's of Project Management with a concentration in business operations and finance. He holds a certification as a professional business coach from the University of Glasgow in the UK. He is a licensed life and health insurance professional partnered with several national financial services companies. He owns his own business as a financial services coach. Also featured on this CD is Mr. Ty Bess. He has been in the network marketing environment for more than 30 years. He is one of the senior partners and top income earners in Karatbars International. Mr. Bess has conducted seminars and workshops to thousands of people across the country. He and his wife have written several books on the network marketing industry. Mr. Ty Bess is the CEO and founder of Wealth Builders Worldwide. I am pleased to introduce Mr. Alan Austin Jr.
Hi. Thanks, Ms. Abrams. Thanks, Mr. Best. Thanks for having me on. It's certainly a pleasure and a privilege to be on the phone with you both. Ms. Abrams, as I listen to you sort of run through the list of my personal accomplishments, now all of which obviously I'm extremely proud of, particularly because, I know I didn't have it easy growing up, and understanding that, all of those individual things were instrumental components of my ability to reach what I would call a decent level of financial success. I realized that in spite of all of those wonderful achievements, I still need Karatbars. I still need Karatbars. Mind you, that's coming from an individual who, at this point in his professional career, would be considered in the top 5% income earners in the U.S. Let that one sink in. Like right now, in my current role in corporate America, my salary would classify me in the top 5% income earners in this country. And I recognize that from this very place, I still need Karatbars, right? And that's because I realize that even if I were making $1 million a year, yet it requires me to spend 70 or 80 hours a week in an office, that doesn't equate to freedom, which is the thing that, I want most. Freedom to spend time with my family, to go where we want to go, do what we want to do, afford, to do all of the philanthropic things and giving back that add meaning and value to my life, right? I would need to do something other than spending time locked behind an office door sitting in front of a computer to achieve that level of freedom, irrespective of how much money I was making. And I believe that everyone wants that level of freedom. Most of us just don't have a plan to get there. And so we keep doing what we're doing, hoping that, the good Lord would just drop a bucket of money from the sky. And we all know that that's not going to happen. As a business consultant and a financial coach, I understand the need to rely on the numbers. And so I figured out that working longer hours for more pay that ultimately gets eaten up by taxes and savings that would erode over time due to inflation, that's a recipe for increased mental and physical stress and certain financial ruin. And so that's certainly not the direction that I want to take my life. Most of us, unfortunately, don't perform the necessary due diligence to prove that our financial decisions are sound ones. We end up making decisions from an emotional place. And unfortunately, emotional decisions are almost always bad decisions. So I tell people, look, it's not emotional, it's math. You have to keep it simple. At the end of the day, you have to remember that when it comes to wealth building, your financial decisions for the most part are about two things: assets and liabilities. you have the ability to add to or deplete your wealth. I'll say that again. You have the ability to add to or deplete your wealth. And as I talk to people, all the time about Karatbars and why I choose to do Karatbars, I get all of the standard questions. Why do you want to do Karatbars? In other words, why would somebody like you, given the money that you make, given your professional background, given the resources that you have, why would you even consider doing something like Karatbars? And I can literally hear the doubt in their voice as they ask the question. It's almost as if they're thinking that having a home-based business is only meant for broke people. And I simply reply by saying, look, there are over 350 million people in the United States, and close to 40% of those individuals have close to zero net worth. That's a staggering number. 350 million plus people in the U.S., and close to 40% of them have almost zero net worth. Most don't even have $10,000 saved after working for 20 years. Karatbars is a way to fix that for everyone. And so I try to boil things down to their lowest common denominator or the least common denominator. When I talk to people about finding a way out of the rat race, finding a way to choose to get off of that hamster wheel or get off of that treadmill as they, traverse down the road to financial freedom. And I give them several very, very easy steps that they can follow. And I tell them this: everyone that has a job needs to do these things. Number one, you have to pay yourself first. You have to find a way to save money. But it's not as simple as just saving money. You've got to save your money in an asset class that appreciates greater than inflation. Again, you've got to save your money, but you've got to put it in an asset class that has historically proven to at a minimum, maintain pace with, or at best, outpace inflation. And so when most people think about saving money, they think about these three standard ways. Number one, they think about a savings account. Well, the challenge I have with savings accounts is, according to the FDIC's 2017 report in March, they said that the average income earned in U.S. savings accounts were 0.06%. 0.06%. Wells Fargo, one of the largest banks in the U.S., are paying individuals 0.01%. Here's what's frightening about that. If you were earning 5% in a bank and had $100 in your savings account, it would take you almost 14 and a half years to double $100 in the bank at 5%. Yet the banks are paying 0.06 on an average, and the largest bank paying 0.01. There's no way that you can keep up with inflation when inflation is averaging somewhere in the range of 2 to 5%, and banks are paying 0.1% or 0.100% in terms of interest. So that way is out for me. The second option most people consider are CDs, right? You can get CDs currently in 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year options. Your 5 year CDs are paying you 2%. Well, if a CD is paying you 2% and inflation is 2%, then 2 minus 2 is 0. So essentially, I've earned nothing in a CD, and that doesn't include the fact that the gain in the CD is taxed, and my money is locked away for the length of time that it's locked in the CD. So that's not a viable option for me. And the third option most people think about is the stock market. And most Americans are invested in the stock market via their 401ks. Well, you don't have to look too far in history to see what actually happens in the stock market. In the last 15 years, 20 years, we've had 2 major stock market crashes that have wiped out approximately 50% of the wealth of the American population that had their money in the stock market. Twice have been wiped out at least 50%. So that's not a viable option for me, right? So when I'm thinking about saving my money, I'm not thinking about exposing it to the level of risk that could potentially cause me to lose all of it. On the other hand, gold has had a history of maintaining its purchasing power and outpacing inflation. From the year 2000 to 2017, gold has increased almost 400%. Almost 400%. And so when I look at the requirement for wealth building that says I have to put my money in an asset class that appreciates greater than inflation and isn't exposed to the level of risk that could cause me to lose it, my options become increasingly small. Gold is one of the best options or the best ways to do that. So that's the first thing that I tell them. The second thing to consider is you've got to find a way to reduce expenses. You've got to find a way to reduce expenses. Anyone that's got a job, anyone that's a W-2 income earner, your largest expense is going to be taxes. Uncle Sam is going to see 35 or 40% of your money before it even hits your bank account. Taxes will erode your wealth. Taxes will erode your wealth. Having a home-based business is the best way for you to combat what happens due to taxation. You can then begin to write off all of the things that you would normally do for the operations of your business right from your home. It's a great way to recoup what you lose in taxes. An absolute phenomenal way to recoup what you lose in taxes. The third thing I tell folks that they have to do is you've got to find a way to beat inflation. You've got to find a way to beat inflation. Everyone knows that the dollar has lost approximately 98% of its purchasing power since we've come off the gold standard. Approximately 98% of its purchasing power since we've come off the gold standard. And it's going to continue to erode because we continue to print more currency. As we continue to print more currency, it will cause a continued decline in the value of paper assets. Conversely, gold will continue to rise in value. There's no speculation needed there. That is simply the truth. Paper assets decline unless you expose them to risk. Gold does not. It's as simple as that. Great way to do that is a home-based business with Karatbars. Right? And lastly, you've got to find a way to duplicate yourself. You've got to find a way to get on the right side of the quadrant. Right? When you're thinking about the cash flow quadrant, you can either be an employee or you can be a self-employed. Either one of those two options, you are exchanging time for dollars, or you can be a business owner or owner of a system that generates perpetual wealth for you or perpetual income for you, or be an investor where you have your money working for you. All right, so let's recap for a second. If there are 4 things that you need to do right where you are right now when you're starting a business, you've got to find a way to pay yourself first, but pay yourself in an asset class that appreciates greater than inflation. There's nothing that's going to beat gold. Number 2, you've got to find a way to reduce expenses. Having a home-based business for any W-2 income earner is the best way to do that. Number 3, you've got to beat inflation. You can't have paper assets over time because paper depreciates in value because we continue to print more. There's nothing historically that has beaten gold without exposing it to the risk of the market. And lastly, you've got to find a way to employ the efforts of others. Leverage. Karatbars solves all of that. Karatbars solves all of it. Karatbars solves all of it. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alan Austin Jr., for sharing with us this pertinent financial information. At this time, I am pleased to introduce to you Mr. Ty Best.
Look, Ms. Abram and Mr. Austin, every time Mr. Austin speaks, I'm at a loss for words because he makes everything sound so simple. Those 4 simple things just blow my mind. And when he say that Karatbars is the solution, it just blows me away. And it's not emotion, it's just math. And that gold has outperformed every single thing, every single financial instrument in the last 100 years. That's not emotion, that's not hype, that's just fact. And so, folks, let me just share this. I'm going to take a couple minutes to say, look, I've been in this industry for 34 years. I've seen a lot of things, and Karatbars is the absolute best I have ever seen. Mr. Allen Austin talked about assets. When this last financial meltdown in 2008, it's noted that the African American community lost 64% of its net worth. 64% of its net worth was lost in one financial meltdown. The Latino community lost 35% of its net worth in that entire assets in that entire meltdown. And the Asian and European community lost about 8 to 10% of its net worth in that entire meltdown. It's serious when you talk about saving in gold, paying yourself first. Why does Karatbars make so much sense? Because there's zero risk here, folks. The company is 6+ years old. We operate in 120+ countries. I've been involved now. It'll be 4 years on November the 8th. The company has actually paid me on a privately issued gold MasterCard 5 times a month, every single month for the last 4 years. We're talking about a product that's unquestioned. We're talking about 24 karat, 999.9 pure gold is the best gold that money can buy. Is the exact same gold that countries use to settle debt. And so when I got involved, I got my serious due diligence hat on and did some homework. And when I saw these 4 pillars of credibility, it blew me away. Number 1 was the gold is the best gold that money can buy. London Bullion Marketing Association accredited gold. Number 2, we operate already in 120+ countries. Number 3, MasterCard. All our commissions are loaded on a MasterCard. It is their business to vet companies and people to verify their credibility. That's what they do, and we have partnered with them to pay commissions worldwide to folks. No credibility issue there. And then the last one, of course, was the Vatican. The fact that we have issued now 300,000 cards with the Pope's picture on it was a piece of credibility that you can't buy that credibility. You can't buy that. Okay, we've already done. That's our history, folks. We're not experimenting. We're not trying out. We're not testing. You are in the right place at the right time when you take action, of course. And one other piece of credibility, Ms. Abram, Mr. Austin, is the fact that all the gold, we're not selling certificates. We're not marketing certificates. You're actually getting pure gold delivered directly to your doorstep by FedEx. We're talking about a multi-million-dollar company that we have a long-term contract. In fact, we've done so much business with them that we become their number 1 customer inside of a couple of years, and FedEx delivers the gold directly to your doorstep worldwide. Okay? I didn't want to talk long, but I do have a couple of things I want to say. And to get back to what Mr. Austin said, and Mr. Austin is one of the greatest financial minds, I believe, on the planet right now today. I hope you heard what he said. He kept it simple for you. But one of the things he said, I made a note, I want to address this. He said most people, and I've heard this before, most people fail in life financially because of a lack of a plan. They don't have a plan. They haven't found a plan they could implement and do. They go through life wandering without a plan. Karatbars is a plan that anyone can do. And here's the plan. You no longer have a lack of a plan. Here's a plan you can do starting right now today. You're listening to this audio message. You can do this plan. Number 1, enroll for free. It puts you in a position to get paid once a month, every month, in the world of Karatbars. Number 2, acquire a package. Hopefully the VIP package, or get to the VIP package as fast as you possibly can. Now that puts you in a position to get paid instead of once a month, 5 times a month. Then get gold. Acquire gold every single chance you can. There's no mandatory requirement. There are no fees. There's no hidden agenda. Acquire gold every single chance you get. Not for me, not for Mr. Austin, not for Ms. Abram, not for Karatbars. Acquire gold for you and your family, because gold is a what? A legal part of your estate. It's a willable part of your estate. You can save it. It will appreciate. It will out-appreciate inflation, as Mr. Austin just said. And you can also will it to your spouse and will it to your kids. And then the 4th step is share it with every single person you can and never stop sharing. It's a simple plan anyone can do, and it's 4 simple steps. And by the way, There's hundreds of thousands of people all over the world doing it right now. We're penetrating a $1.4 quadrillion marketplace, and you are hearing about it right now, and we are just getting started. So with that in mind, I want to thank Mr. Alan Austin for sharing his expertise with us. And folks, you haven't heard him live. He just gave you a taste of the information just to give you an idea of what we have going on in the world of Karatbars and why it's so important. I hope you heard it. Mr. Austin, did you want to add anything else while we have you on the line? Because I know sometimes your brain, different things pop up. Is there anything else you wanted to add while we have you on the line?
No, I think I'm good. I think I covered it. I hope that, I've been able to impress upon the folks that are listening to this that, sometimes making financial, decisions can be scary, but it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. If you just look at the numbers and avoid making it emotional, you'll realize that, Karatbars is something that not only you can do, but something that you should do.
And again, I want to thank you very much. I want to encourage those who are listening to this audio message, get back with the person who had shared this message with you right away and get started today. Hesitation in Karatbars will cost you thousands, if not millions. With that in mind, this is Ty Best saying dream big. Back to you, Ms. Abram.
Thank you for listening to this message. Get back to the person who shared this information with you and get started today.